Hey guys, it's Dom and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I typically make bookish content, travel content, and miscellaneous collection content, and today's video is going to be bookish content because we're going to continue my reading vlog series, I guess, for the Hunger Games books. Today, we will be reading Catching Fire, which is book 2 of the series. So where we left off in the last book, Peeta and Katniss have won the Hunger Games. They are returning to District 12. Peeta found out that Katniss was doing all the lovey-dovey shit in order to win the games. Like, she didn't, seriously feel that way. He's pissed off about it, but he's acting really well. They're holding hands as the train opens, and Katniss says she's afraid for him to let go. And that's how the book ends. It ended a lot meeker than I remember. There's no fucking hope in these books at all, which tends to happen in dystopian. So, Catching Fire it's gonna be the 75th Hunger Games. We all know that Katniss and Peeta have to go back into the arena. But revolution. It's all about the revolution. We're gonna get reading. I wonder if I'm gonna have the same thoughts I did when rereading the Hunger Games, the first book, because like I said, it reads differently as an adult than when I was 14 first reading this. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm going to put my laundry in. We're going to start reading. Okay, so I finished chapter 1 and I'm going to unload my laundry as I talk about it. It's my camera is sitting on a non-flat surface, so I can't imagine this is going well. Oh crap, there's stuff in the dryer. So, chapter 1 is as meek as the first chapter of the Hunger Games. Who's surprised? Not me. But she's clearly not okay. And it's actually it's nice, I don't want to say nice, what's the word I'm looking for? It's interesting, for lack of a better word, to see a character actually go through that, because I have a feeling that would be more realistic. Here you are in the arena, where people are dying, and not only are they dying, but you yourself had killed some of these people, so clearly that can't be, okay in the brain. You find out that the Capitol started to lie that Gale is Katniss's cousin, especially because they look so much alike, and just the fact that she's supposed to, be a helpless romantic when she's trying to win the game, so of course they couldn't just it would be weird that her best friend is a guy, and doing all the interviews, I should have stated that. So that's a detail I forgot, that he's her cousin now, and apparently a lot of people in District 12 believe that story, except for Greasy Stay. We love Greasy Stay. That's the other thing, I like learning about these characters that you don't see in the movies, because they're understandably taken out of the movies, except for Mage. She should have been kept. But, characters like Greasy Say, and then the 2 peacemakers that she mentions in chapter 1, I could see why they're not included. But it's kind of nice. You get to learn more about District 12 that way. She mentions the Victor's Village, which is where all the Victors live, and now she's, filthy rich. Gale won't take any of her money. He doesn't even like the fact that she hunts for him, because he's working in the mines now. Doesn't like the fact that she's hunting for him, but his mom does, so I guess that's what counts. And another thing, we get to see Haymitch again, and I mentioned this in the last vlog, that we don't really, when I was younger, he was kind of just an asshole, but reading this when I'm older, he kind of is still an asshole. But now, I'm actually seeing that what he's going through is similar to PTSD. Katniss even says, they all have their different ways of dealing what happened in the games. Katniss hunts to take her mind off things, because she's bored out of her mind, and what else is she supposed to do? Peeta bakes, so those two just go back to the norm, whereas Haymitch drinks, which is very, very realistic. I think we all know someone who went through something very traumatic and they drink to get their problems away. So that's all I read so far. So chapter 1 is slow going because it's just setting up the plot, and chapter 2 I'm assuming is her talk with President Snow, and then we're going to see the Victor's Tour, which I kind of feel bad that they have to do, because yeah, it's the Capitol's way of controlling people, but it's just imagine watching these people die and killing some of their kids, and then you have to go to that district and be yeah, celebrate me. Imagine, who did she kill? Imagine your daughter is Foxface, the Victors come to District 5 and you have to celebrate that. Or Cato's parents. Imagine being Cato's parents and then his murderer comes and you have to celebrate them. Or her. I think it was just Katniss who did it. Sounds pretty weird to me. I wouldn't want to do that if my child was killed in the Hunger Games. But alas, I don't live in a world like that, and hopefully I never will have to, so I don't have to deal with that. So chapter 2 is over, and I just wanted to talk about a few things. So she's talking to President Snow, and President Snow's basically girl, you're gonna cause some uprisings. People look up to you, and I don't really like that, you know, as governments go. But she spends a good portion of this chapter describing a little incident that happened with Gale. Gale kisses her, and she's really unsure how she feels about it and how she still feels about Peeta. And honestly, like I said in the last vlog, the chemistry with Peeta is there, and I do like that it's shaky because this is a life or death situation, so that's totally believable. I don't see the chemistry with Gale. I see the friendship. I don't see the love. It is so fucking forced, and this whole like love triangle that goes on. I didn't think that when I was younger, and I was always like, oh my god, who's she gonna pick? But now I'm like, okay. It could be just the fact that I know who she picks, but like it just seems so forced to me. I don't like it, but President Snow does know about the kiss between her and Gale, and that's the tea. That's how the chapter ends. Now he wants her to convince him that she does indeed love Peeta. Chapter 3 is done just in time for dinner. Okay, the opening of this book is so slow. I don't know if it's slow because it is or because I just cannot focus today. But the Hunger Games was like this. I can't snap for shit, but it was like this. And this one I'm kind of just like, holy crap, please move on. Like, she's milking some stuff. Still enjoying myself, but she's like milking it. But they mentioned the Court of Quell. They explained what it was. They explained that Haymitch won it, and right now they're on their train. They're on the train on their way to start the Victor's Tour, and she told Haymitch, and she was basically told, like, you need to marry Peeta if you don't want your whole family to die. So 5 episodes of Demon Slayer later, I just took my dog out for a walk, talked with my parents, and I didn't read, and it's currently 11:50 p.m. It's almost midnight. I'm not going to read because I'm very, very tired, and I cannot focus on that book right now for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do instead is change into my PJs, curl up in bed, and then read Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fiction of the Fans, until I fall asleep, which is what I've been doing lately. I'm currently reading an Azula-based fanfiction because she was left open-ended in the show, and I want to know what happens to her. But of course I do know what happens with her. Like, I do know the canon idea because I've read the comics, but I don't like her direction in the comics. So I'm reading people's like ideas of redemption stories because that's what I need in my life apparently. Okay, so we're at the part of the Victory Tour where they're in District 11, and I don't remember this scene being so emotional. Or maybe I've just become like more emotional as I got older, because she's like mentioning Rue's family, and she's giving her thanks to Thresh's family and Rue's, and I'm actually tearing up. I have not teared up in a YA book in I don't know how long, but holy crap. It looks like oh my god. I just want to mention the fact that she as in Katniss and Peeta, so they're currently at a party in the Capitol for the Victors thing. And people are, like, so the Mockingjay is a fashion statement now, and people are tattooing it in intimate places. Everyone's showing the new accessory. So imagine being a 16, 17-year-old girl, someone pulls down their pants and be like, look at my new tattoo. That's fucking weird to me. Okay, so remember my last vlog, I was talking about, like, the little things you notice when you reread, like the little things of foreshadowing. She mentions how she but she mentions how when she was shooting the arrow at the apple, a game maker fell into a bowl of punch. It's, how do you say his name? Plutarch? It's Plutarch. It was Plutarch. Because he's saying, like, oh, I always avoid punch now. And then she realized who he was. Like, ooh, it's like the small things. The smallest details are always foreshadowing. So I just finished reading chapter 5, and right now she's back in District 12. I keep saying she, but Katniss and Peeta are back in District 12. They're having the Harvest Festival. They're having more festivities for the Victor's Tour. And it's right before the dinner, so she was looking for Mage, but then she came across the mayor's room, was gonna say hello, but then stuff appeared on the TV that clearly it was for the mayor's eyes, not hers, but she stayed to watch it. The mayor wasn't there, by the way. She stayed to watch it, and it's showing, like, the uprising of District 8, like, they're throwing things, there are violent protests, the peacekeepers, so the cops, are shooting people. Shit really hits different, man. Like, considering what's been happening here, like, ooh. Like, I said this in the last vlog, and I'm gonna say it again. Reading this for the first time at 14, it was pure fiction to me. This stuff would never happen, you know? And, like, reading it older makes me realize how much more realistic this series is than I originally thought it was. And it freaks me out. I don't mean that, like, I mean, it is, like, a bad thing, I guess. I don't, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, it should make me uncomfortable. Because that's the whole point of this trilogy. That's why Suzanne Collinsworth wrote it. She wants you to be uncomfortable at the fact that this stuff could happen. She's doing a really good job. I'm just saying. Also, a question I have is, how are the officials elected? Like, is it a democracy? Is it a monarchy? Like, is President Snow the president because his father was before him? Who votes him in? How do you decide who's going to be mayor of the districts? Do the citizens of Panam vote, or like is he handpicked by the capital? But mockingjays were never a weapon, said Mage. They're just songbirds, right? This is what I like to call foreshadowing. Gale just told her, I love you. Katniss' response was, I know. What the fuck is this? Is this fucking Star Wars? I don't fucking think so. So we just got to the end of the chapter where Gale is getting whipped by the new peacekeeper, the new head peacekeeper. And I have a theory that I kind of want to talk about, because I've noticed that, you know, District 12 is supposed to be the poorest, and yet their peacekeepers aren't as strict as districts higher above them. And I would think that they would, since they're supposed to be like the worst district, I would think they would have very strict peacekeepers, and then I noticed they didn't. Is it because they're so beaten down that the capital and all the peacekeepers assume they won't fight back? So is that why they're not as strict? Part 1 of this book is officially over. So Gale got his back whipped, there's bad weather, there's a new head peacekeeper, and now there's more torture devices in the middle, and all the other peacekeepers have been replaced. It's all new, it's stricter. People are dying, they're sick, it's going from bad to worse, something that Katniss has never seen before. Parcel Day didn't work out, and right now Katniss is disappearing into the woods, which is high-key illegal. It was illegal before, but now right now she's like literally risking death, being put to death by a firing squad. She goes to the lake that her dad used to bring her to, and there's a peacekeeper, but she has a cookie or like a cracker with the Mockingjay stamped on it, and then the chapter ends, so I don't know what's gonna happen. And some final thoughts. It's really freaking me out how similar this is to things I have seen in the news. I've seen shit in the news, whether it's from countries around the world or my own, because I thought the District 8 uprising, the way that was described, was very similar to how I see protesters versus police nowadays in America. It's really, really scary. This shit is hitting different as an adult. But I'm excited at the same time, because finally Katniss realized that she needs to start the revolution. And it's gonna happen, and I can't wait. But alas, I need to eat dinner. It has been 2 days since I updated you guys. I did not read Catching Fire yesterday, so I didn't see the point. All I did yesterday was read volume 12 of Tokyo Ghoul, so now I have 2 left. And then I finished Demon Slayer. What a show. Nezuko's so fucking cute. Stan Nezuko. So I read 3 chapters. I wanted to read up to the Court of Quell before I updated you guys. Well, not to the Court of Quell, but to the part I'm at. So the parts I didn't remember have happened. She went into the forest, and you know, the peacekeeper with the cookie wasn't actually a peacekeeper. It was a woman named Twill from District 8, and she was with a girl named Bonnie, also from District 8. District 8 did indeed uprise. Things were exploding, people are dying, so that's why they ran off. And they told Katniss about District 13. They're trying to go there. The fence is electrified. Katniss comes home. There's 2 peacekeepers trying to be like, where were you? And she's like, I was none of your business kind of thing. She watched a clip of District 13, which I want to talk about. So the clip of District 13 that everyone shows that everyone watches is of the Justice Building, and it's like in shambles. And it's old footage, and it's the same one over and over again, and you can see the Mockingjay in the corner, so that's how Katniss realizes that the District 8 people were correct. It's like a prime example of the government using like propaganda and images to control you, because like Katniss said, she's like, we've seen the footage, and then the District 8 people were like, no, you have to like actually watch it. So even Katniss fell for the Capitol's trap. So I thought that was very interesting, and it could parallel to real life. It is paralleling to real life. So Katniss is believing that there's a District 13, and she's just wondering why the Capitol is leaving them alone. But even Twill said, you know, they had like nuclear weapons, so who knows what they can do. They announced a Court of Quell, and everyone has to bring back, so all the tributes are reaped from the already existing victors. She needs to go back into the arena. I still want to know who from District 12 won the Hunger Games before Haymitch, because he's the second winner. Who's the first one? I just like want to talk about the language of the Capitol, because Suzanne Collins probably purposely didn't mention this. And I don't know if I'm like shocked about it or not that Katniss herself is not talking about the language of the Capitol. But it's like the amount of victim blaming that the Capitol does for like the dark days when there was uprisings and stuff. 50th, they said, as a reminder that 2 rebels did die for each Capitol citizen. So you know, that's the Capitol blatantly telling them like, this is revenge because of you guys. Like, you guys fucked up. You messed with the wrong people. And even for the current Court of Quell, on the 75th anniversary, as a reminder to the rebels that even the strongest among them cannot overcome the power of the Capitol. So it's like the strongest among you cannot overpower us. It's like blatant victim blaming. What's the phrase? There's a term I'm looking for and I don't know what it is, but blatant controlling language. I guess is what I'm going for. And I'm surprised Katniss is not commenting on it, unless that's the point, like even Katniss doesn't realize it. I've only read 2 more chapters of Catching Fire today. So the first chapter I read was Haymitch's quarter quell, so he was in the 50th, and that's when they had to bring double the tributes, so rather than 2 tributes per district, it was 4. And then Katniss's mom's friend was in it, and you find out that the friend was Madge's aunt, who owned the Mockingjay pin, because in the Hunger Games, I did not mention this in the last vlog because I didn't think it was going to be an important detail, but in the Hunger Games, or is it Mage or Madge? It's probably Madge because it would rhyme with badge with the way it's spelled, but whatever, I'm going to call her Madge. So, because Madge, well, does she mention this in the first book? Maybe she doesn't, and that's why I didn't mention it, but whatever. At one point, she mentions that an aunt gave her the pin. So yeah, you find out that Maisie Donner, who was Katniss's mom's friend, was Madge's aunt, and she made it to the top 5 living tributes in the 50th, and then she was actually, and I remember Haymitch having an alibi, I just forgot it was a District 12 girl, and she made it to the top 5 with him, and that's when their allyship broke off, because it's like they didn't want to kill each other, but then she ended up dying, because at the 50th arena sounded fucking wild. She ended up dying, Haymitch held her hand until she died, blah blah blah, Haymitch wins. So I liked seeing the parallels too, because they survived by working together, you know, like Katniss and Peeta did. Obviously it wasn't like a romance, and I did find it funny how in the Hunger Games, like the book The Hunger Games, Haymitch told Peeta and Katniss, do not go to the cornucopia, like run away, whereas in Catching Fire during his quarter quell, he went to the cornucopia right away. So I thought that was funny. Obviously it could, like, his later advice could be him, or teaching them a lesson from his, like, mistake. And yeah, I find it interesting that the pin, how important the pin actually is, because it used to belong to someone who lost a quarter quell, and like Katniss says, it means something different for her now because it's her best friend's aunt's, and now she knows why it was so important. And it makes me angrier that Madge is not in the movies. Like, yeah, her character is like, kind of doesn't really do anything in the books, but considering she's the one who gives Katniss this pin, and then the Mockingjay becomes the symbol of, you know, the rebellion, like, I think that's kind of important. I don't know. I'm just saying. And then the next chapter, we meet all the other tributes, and it's a very stark in contrast because they're doing the whole, like, chariot ride thing. Very stark in contrast with the 74th Hunger Games, because usually tributes don't talk to each other. But Victor's are actually all friends, so they're all talking. Finnick comes up to her and, like, flirts with her, and oof, the visual I have of this man in my mind. So Finnick talks to her, Joanna takes off her clothes in front of everyone, she's like stark naked, and I remember laughing so hard when I first read that. I love Joanna, like that's such a weird, it's a weird out there thing to do, but I have no choice but to stan. Chaff kisses her. I forgot Chaff existed until this reread. I forgot Cedar existed until this reread, and now that I'm reading Cedar again, I think she's gonna be important later, but I'm not too sure. There's so much tea being spilled, and I'm excited to get to it, but it's also 2 a.m. so I should go to bed. Okay, wait, I just had a realization about the pin again, and why I'm still angry. Madge is not included in the movies, but Madge gave Katniss the pin, because, you know, they're friends, because, you know, her aunt that she never got to meet went into the games and didn't survive, so that's why she's telling Katniss to use it as a good luck charm. Like, she wants you to survive because someone else who was close to her did not. And now it's the symbol of revolution, so they should have put Madge in the movies, but whatever, who the fuck asked me. So it's the next day, and I have a lot to talk about before I get to the point where I wanted to talk about. So Katniss is in training now, and she's meeting all these people, and she's being forced to form allies, and she doesn't want to. And during her, like, training session, her private training session, I remember this differently than how it actually happened, but she ended up, taking a dummy and hanging it on a noose and writing Seneca Crane on it. Seneca Crane was the head game maker who got killed off because he did not kill Katniss and Peeta. I remember her shooting an arrow at it too, like I remember reading that, but apparently that does not happen. So that's where we're at, and right now they're at the table. We're in the next chapter, and they're at the table, and both her and Peeta are telling Haymitch what she did, or what Peeta did first. We didn't get to Katniss's role yet. And Peeta painted Rue, and he's like, I wanted to hold him accountable for killing that little girl, and I actually teared up. This book is so emotional. It's so much more emotional than when I was younger, and oh my god, ooh, I teared up again. And I want to make another observation, but I was kind of, like, while reading this book and, like, seeing Katniss being forced to make allies. In the first book, Katniss talks about how the careers form an allyship, and then everyone else is, like, kind of on their own. why didn't like the lesser districts form allies and they work together to defeat the careers? Why was that not a thing? I think in my case, like say if I was from District 10, I would grab the tributes from 10, 11, and 12 and be like, hey, let's make this ally, let's make this pack, and fight against the careers. Like, wouldn't that be a thing? Which I guess is what they're kind of doing in I almost said in District 13, which I guess is what they're kind of doing in Catching Fire, but like, I don't know why that just crossed my mind now. So I finished part 2, and there's a lot to take in since I've last updated. Also, I had coffee and my hands are really shaky, so I have to hold my camera with 2 hands. I don't know how it's going. Katniss twirled, her dress turned into a mockingjay, the symbol of the rebellion, so that was Cinna's way of being like, I'm with Katniss, you can't stop me, fuck the Capitol, you know. And then Peeta, and I always forget what happens in Peeta's interviews apparently, even though they're like huge plot points to these books. Peeta announces that Katniss is pregnant. It's obviously a lie, but I forgot that he did that, and I was shook. And then everyone in the Capitol like was all up in arms, which is another thing I forgot. I hesitate to use the word against, but I forgot how unhappy the citizens of the Capitol were with the Quell, because, you know, they're all crying as he says that, and there's chaos. Caesar Flickerman can't get anyone to calm down. Peeta's crying, so him and Katniss join hands. Katniss joins hands with Chaff, and then a cliche happened, but a cliche that I will fucking die for. I hate cliches, but then Suzanne Collins had all the tributes join hands as a silent rebellion against the Capitol, and I love it so much. It was so beautiful, I had to reread it like 5 times, and the image is still in my head. I'm still shook, and it makes me so sad. Like, you have this group of 24 people who are more or less friends, most of them, and they all have to kill each other. Haymitch even says too, like, or this is like earlier before they did that, but Haymitch even says like, good thing you don't want to be allies with them, because if you kill my friends, I don't have to explain it, you know? And I am shook to my core and sad, because the part 2 ends with her going up and seeing the arena, but Cinna gets taken away by the peacekeepers. He's like beaten, he gets the shit beat out of him, and then they drag him away, which happens at a different point than I remember. I thought it was after her dress reveal. That's when I thought they took him away, but no, it was when she was about to go in the games, and she's surrounded by all this water, and she's like, yeah, this is not the place for a girl on fire. Like, I know how it ends, obviously, and it just makes me so sad, because not every tribute is going to survive. And I don't know, it makes me so sad, especially because I know Cecilia, District 8, is one of the ones who dies. And she's the one who Suzanne Collins gave us a very vivid image of her name being called and her 3 children grabbing her and dragging her and clinging. It makes me so fucking sad. And I don't know who else dies. I think it's the Morphlings, who I feel bad as well. I feel bad for everyone, but I'm emotional. Clearly. So I'm gonna go make dinner, and then I'm gonna watch either Golden Girls or start Cowboy Bebop. So I finished dinner and I watched 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, and honestly I am not feeling it, but I'm not gonna give up. So I want to watch a few more episodes before I finally you know. Okay, guys, I have a question. So we're at the part where Peeta accidentally killed himself by slashing into the force field, and Finnick brought him back, so therefore Katniss is sobbing because she thought she lost Peeta. And Finnick blamed the hormones. What he meant was the hormones from the baby, which he said, but like when I initially read that line, I thought he was talking about like her period or her being a woman. What if a tribute was on their period while in the games? Like, what if I was selected to go to the games when I was on my period? Are you gonna, like, supply me with pads and tampons? Or do I have to walk around bloody and chafed? So they just announced all the people who died on the first day, and there's 8. Last year was 13, but now there's only 8. But I'm really sad because of the people they mentioned. Like, I knew Cecilia was gonna die. I knew, like, that I remembered. When they said she had the 3 children, like, I remember that woman dying. But I'm so sad because, you know, now these 3 kids can't see their mom. Wolf died, who was also in District 8, which I kind of saw coming, seeing how weak he was. Obviously, District 5 boy died, or man died, because Finnick killed him. District 6 Morphling died, the male. which I knew was gonna happen. I know both of them are gonna die, so but I was still upset to read that. Both of them in 9 died. The woman in 10, and then Cedar died from District 11. I wanted her to live for some reason. Like, I forgot she existed, but then when I first read her name, I was like, oh yeah, she is in Mockingjay. I don't know why my brain did that. So now I'm really upset that she's dead. I liked her. I mean, we barely interacted with her, but I liked her. She was so nice. And I'm so upset because I thought Suzanne Collins was introducing all these names purposely because they were gonna be the ones to survive, whereas like the ones she didn't name, you know, for example, like 10 and 9, I was like, all right, they'll die. So like, because Chaff and then Cedar has such important introductions, I'm like, okay, Cedar's gonna live. And then she didn't, which I guess makes sense because like, yeah, she introduced Cecilia died, so you know that goes against the logic I was just sharing. But I'm still upset, which makes it good writing because therefore then it's not like predictable and all that. But I'm so upset about Cedar. So my camera battery was charging, so I couldn't update you on my reading right away. And then here I am making a setup for filming a video that's coming out whenever. And I realized I forgot to update you guys, so I'm gonna do that very quick. We're at the part where they're just chilling. They're trying to go to bed. Katniss sees a thunderstorm, a cannon goes off, we don't know who died yet. And she's like, she's chilling, and then this fog comes, and it's causing her to get blisters. That's where we're at, chapter ended, and I'm like, I'm tired, I'm not gonna read the rest, I'm gonna film some videos, and I need to get out of the way. I'm still pissed that Cedar's dead, and I was thinking about it because PETA said earlier that he wants Chaff and Cedar as allies. Y'all could have fucking saved her. I'm pissed. Why do I remember her? I mean, obviously, like I said, I forgot all about her until her name was mentioned. But once her name was mentioned, why do I remember her in Mockingjay if she's dead? I'm pissed. I'm pissed that Cecilia's dead because she has 3 kids and I feel so bad. The other ones that died already, I don't really feel bad for because we didn't like meet them, but I was like thinking about that. Like, can you imagine winning the Hunger Games, being promised your name never has to go back in the reaping bowl again, you get a life of luxury, just for the Court of Queld to be like, just kidding, you have to fight again? I'd be fucking pissed. Really fucking pissed. And I'm upset. I'm so upset. Why am I so upset Cedar's dead when like we got maybe 1 line from her? I haven't read in 2 days, so we're right where we left off. But I saw some cool shit. I watched Parasite finally. That was pretty fucking good, and I'm like, wow, this is actually the best movie I watched all year. Then I watched Moonlight. That was even better. But anyway, we're gonna get to reading. I'm gonna try to read a chapter, and then I think dinner's ready, and I'm just gonna watch another movie. I should really watch Cowboy Bebop, but like, I'm not vibing with that show. I'm not feeling it. But I really want to watch 365 Days because the things I've heard and the things I will probably see. I've heard it was a shit movie. I need to see for myself. Hey guys, so it's been a few days. I haven't read in like 5 days because a lot of shit went down and I just was not in the mental capacity to do things. It hasn't been great because quarantine has taken the life out of me. So anyway, what have I been doing? Well, I watched that 365 Days movie and it was utter trash, like everyone said it was, but I finally got to experience it for myself. And then lately I've been watching a lot of reaction videos. It started out with Demon Slayer. That is such a great anime. I can't get over it. But then I got onto reaction videos of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I always skip to the ones of like my favorite parts. Ooh, I got so addicted to those. Today's addiction was reaction videos to Disturbed's cover of Sound of Silence. And now I've been reading like very heated discussions about Avatar: The Last Airbender, which tells me like how great that show actually is. The fact that it's been 12 fucking years since the last episode premiered and people still have heated discussions. And I'm not talking about the discussions of whether or not the show was good. It's heated discussions about people's interpretations. And it just amazes me 12 years later and we're still talking about these things. And I'm saying these heated discussions amaze me in the sense that, like, it's been so long and people still hold these interpretations, like, so dear to their heart. I'm one of them. I can write dissertations. I can write, like, a 50-page dissertation about my interpretations of Azula as a character and why I think she's so tragic as a character and why she's my favorite villain of all time and why she's, like, one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. I can write fucking dissertations. So I am, like, right there with these people. It's so amazing to me. And now I am talking about everything but Catching Fire. I still have 90 pages left, or whatever. Less than 100, that's all I know. More than 90, less than 100. 12:30 in the morning. I made a cup of coffee, because that's where my life is at. We're gonna read. Am I gonna finish? I don't know, but that's the goal. I typically stay up till like 4 or 5 in the morning anyway, because apparently I hate myself, so let's see if I can get this done. I just want y'all to know, I filmed that clip 2 days ago. And I read 1 page because I keep getting distracted by everything Avatar: The Last Airbender related. July 3rd, Hamilton's going to be on Disney+, but I can't watch that yet till my parents get home because they want to see it. We can go swimming now in Animal Crossing, so I'm finally playing this game for the first time in like 2 weeks. I just keep thinking about Azula because I've had so many conversations about Azula with people. Y'all, this vlog, what does any of this have to do with Catching Fire? I need to finish that tonight. So I actually read 3 chapters. It's currently 2:15 in the morning and I don't want to read anymore. I have 4 left. But more people are dying than I remember, so that's really sad. It was sad when Mags walked into the fog and like that's when I was getting suspicious, like, okay, everyone, this like whole thing is planned. Forgot that a lot of the tributes were in on the plan to save Katniss and Peeta. Until, like, rereading it right now. So Mags is dead. The Morphling from District 6, the woman, she saved Peeta by jumping in front of him, like, between him and some monkey thing. That was actually really sad, because Peeta was talking about paintings with her while she was dying, and, like, just the image it created. I actually teared up a bit, and I'm like, I don't remember being this emotional. And then it's the part where they realize the arena's in a clock. So, Johanna, Beatty, and Ryrus, I can't say that, are with them. Gloss and Cashmere come up to Ryrus and they kill her, but then Gloss and Cashmere are killed off, and then the careers from District 2 run ahead. So as of now, I think there's only 8 tributes as of now. I don't know, Katniss hasn't done like a head count yet. It's going so much faster than the Hunger Games from the last book. So the games in the last book lasted probably like 2 weeks at least. But here they are, day 2, and there's only 8 of them left out of 24, and it's like, holy crap, things are getting tight. Like, this is probably, I want to say in retrospect, this is like probably the deadliest because it's so fast. I'm just so much angrier in this book than I was the first one. Which makes me feel bad, because the first one was obviously kids, so I should be angrier at that because it's kids. But it's like I said this earlier in the video, imagine surviving this thing just to be thrown back into it again and not surviving. Like, Cedar, Cecilia, they survived their own games just to be killed off day 1 of their second one that they should not have even been in the first place because they were promised to never be put in the reaping again. I do want to talk about the dream I had last night. The fact that I'm rereading this and that my obsession with Avatar: The Last Airbender has come back collided in a dream last night. So apparently, according to this dream, I was back in college, right? And I knock on this door and it's a room full of boys. Who opens it? It's Zuko in pajamas, and he's aged up. Like, he's not 16. He's probably, like, 18, 19 now. And I am, too. I aged down. I'm back to being, like, 18, 19 because it's freshman year. I don't know how they fit 5 boys in a dorm. I don't know. Dreams are really weird. I don't know why I go into his room, but it's kind of sort of important for the plot of this dream. So we're all partying. Suddenly, I'm not even me anymore. I'm actually Katniss. The party was boring. Peeta was being a bitch. So I went upstairs to Cinna to cuddle Cinna too, of all people. No, but whatever. So I'm cuddling, and then Cinna gets a heart attack, and people pull me away, and I'm no longer Katniss. I'm back to being me. And then this girl I was friends with in high school and haven't spoken to since high school appeared in my dream. And we go looking for help. We're screaming out Peeta and Zuko's name, looking for help. And then I asked my friend, I'm like, does Cinna die in the book? Because if he dies in the book, he's gonna die now. But if he doesn't die in the book, he won't die now. Really fucking weird. So I go knock on Zuko's door, and the 2 guys are like, oh yeah, Zuko's here. And then I go to his bunk, and he's not. And then they're like, oh yeah, he switched rooms. And then it clicks, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's down the hall. He lives next to his sister. So apparently Azula was in the dorm too. And then now he shares a room with Peeta, and I'm about to knock on the door, but then I wake up. What? I'm gonna go to bed, and we're gonna finish this book tomorrow. I am not putting in like week gap that I had going there. We are finishing this. I want this done. So I started my reading for the night. I'm already emotional. I'm so, oh my god, this book series is making me more emotional now than when I first read it. It's I don't know if that's like good or bad, but it's the end of day 2 and already, what's 8 plus 8? 16 of them are gone. This is going by so much faster than the first games. The only people left are Katniss, Peeta, BT, Finnick, Joanna, however that's pronounced, Chaff, and then the District 2 people, Brutus and Enobaria. We've been introduced to the idea of Annie. She's the girl who went hysterical and then Mags volunteered for her. At the game, I think her games, Peeta talks about the only reason she survived is because there was an earthquake that caused a dam to break and she was the best swimmer. Which got me thinking about Haymitch. Came to me while reading this chapter, because now he's an alcoholic, and at first I was like, oh, he's an alcoholic for his own games, but then I started thinking about it because Katniss made a comment that District 12 kids, they learn valuable things for the games too late. Like every other district, people learn their career, I guess, early, whereas District 12 they have to wait till they're 18, but there's so many things you can use in the mines that you can use in the game, so Katniss says we learn too late. So that actually got me thinking, like, is another reason Haymitch is such an alcoholic is because nobody from District 12 survives. Like, can you imagine you're trying to train these kids, but, like, nobody is surviving? That has to, like, take some toll on the mental health. I have 1 chapter left, and I know how it ends, and I remember how angry I was, so I'm not going to record myself reading the whole chapter, but, like, the last 5 pages, I think I'm going to record myself reading, just so I can see my facial expression again, because, ooh, I was so fucking mad when I first read this. Holy crap. Oh my god. My friend's texting me asking me if I finished. Yes, the fuck I did. So, 1:30 in the morning. We have some things, I'm holding this backwards, we have some things to discuss. So, one thing I forgot during this reread, I forgot that some of the other districts were in on this big plan. There was a big plan to get was it everyone? Hold on, now I need to fact check. Okay, so I don't know if it was everyone because she just says there was a plan to break us out of the arena from the moment the quell was announced. I don't know if she means just herself and Peeta because after all she is the Mockingjay, or if she's talking about like all the victors. But so a good majority of the tributes were actually involved in this plan. I totally forgot about that until this reread, but I was like catching the hints. So districts 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 11 were all involved, which just makes this even sadder. So many districts were involved, and in the end, only 3 people survived. Only BD from District 3, only Finnick from 4, and then only Johanna from 7. This is so fucking sad. And then, so a total of only 6 tributes survive. I remember so much more surviving. But only 6 do. One of them wasn't even part of this fucking plan. And Enobaria, I mean, I'm glad she survived in the end, but like, she wasn't even part of the plan. But she survived. So I feel bad for Enobaria too, though, now that I'm thinking about it. Because can you imagine, like, not being a part of this plan, and then the Capitol takes you and is, like, torturing you to get answers out, and you're like, I literally have no idea what's going on. Can you imagine if they could say more tributes than they did? Ugh. And then, like, I was thinking about this while I was reading it. Like, everyone was friends with now, I don't want to say they were all friends, but, like, everyone was at least acquaintances. Like, they all knew each other really well. And, like, they were all sad when the opposing, not opposing, what am I thinking of? They were all sad when their, like, partner from their district died. Because, like, you didn't see this in the first book. Like, in the first book, people, like, just, if you weren't a career, people just went on their own. Can you imagine just having to kill your friends? Like, at least in the other games, like, I mean, no games is better than the rest, but, like, at least in the other games, you don't know these people, and I'd imagine if I were in this circumstance, it would be easier killing a stranger than it would a friend. But, like, you can't say one games is better than the other, because here they're all adults in this one, but, like, in the others, they're kids, they're minors. But, like, still, and I keep saying this, but, like, just imagine surviving this and being told, like, hey, you're safe for the rest of your life, just to find out you're not. Like, I feel so bad for Annie. But Suzanne Collins actually gives these people, like, after effects. I'm sure, like, more books being published now would do this, but I remember, like, when I was younger, when I was in the age range for this book, the books I would read, people would go through these, like, horrendous things, like, war equivalents, and then have kind of, like, no after effects talked about. What I remember in Mockingjay, like, everyone's in shambles, basically. Like, how can you not be in shambles surviving this? I am rambling. That's how, like, I shouldn't even be in shock, because I knew this was all coming, but I'm still so sad. Like, this book was so much sadder. I shouldn't say it was so much sadder, but, like, the amount of times I've cried reading this book, just this one book alone. I didn't cry when I was younger, but I cried now. This one feels so much more realistic, too. Like, I feel like this is in the real world. And it's scary. I mean, I want to start a revolution in everyone's name now, given that ending, too. And I'm not prepared to read her reaction about Madge, because I do know what happens to Madge. I do remember that. Oh, there's so many things I'm not prepared. Like, I remember very little from Mockingjay, but, like, from what I do remember, I'm just not prepared. Should I give, like, an analysis? I don't really have an analysis to give. Like, I know I kind of sort of gave one at the end of the first book, but I just... like, everything I was saying, I kind of said as I went along with this, like, ugh, I'm so angry at what, like, that these people had to go through what they went through, which is obviously Suzanne Collins' point. She wants you to be angry, you know? And I remember more tributes surviving, not just 6. And I'm so upset more did it. Then again, like, I mean, it's a smart choice not having them all survive like that, because it would be, like, super cliched and honestly unrealistic, but, like, damn. In 3 days, by day 3, there were only 6 left. And Katniss even said that's a record. Like, I think the games in the last book, didn't that last a couple of weeks at least? I'm glad they're in a revolution, though. Like, they're overthrowing the Capitol. We love to see it. I'm glad District 13 is well and alive. I hope Bonnie and Twill survive. Like, I want to say I remember them from Mockingjay, but I've been saying that about a lot of characters who and, like, as we've known, I'm guessing this wrong, or I'm assuming, what's the word I'm looking for? It's too late for these analyses. As we've been saying, I've been remembering wrong. I'm still pissed off about Cedar. She had such a small part, so I don't know why I'm so pissed off about her, like, about her outcome, I mean. Can I just mention another thing, though? Like, Peeta kept telling Katniss, like, no one loves me back home, like, I have no one to, like, prepare myself for, and it's like, dude, don't you have a family? Like, they mention he has father and a mother and brothers and a lot of friends. Like, Katniss always says he's always with friends in school, and it's like, you're just assuming. I mean, I know they painted his mom as one way, but it's like, you're just assuming none of these people like you anymore. I want to cry. But seeing how I clearly have nothing else to say, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just in pure shock. I don't know, what am I shocked about? I knew this was all happening, but what am I shocked about? Whoa. Okay, so if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment, typical jargon. Look forward to Mockingjay. Hopefully it does not take me as long to read as this one was taking me, but life got in the way for this one. So, I will leave it at that, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao, tutti.